What really happened to Pope Benedict XVI? Why did he suddenly resign the papacy on February 28th of 2013? Was he forced out of the papacy? Did he secretly remain pope and Pope Francis is consequently an anti-pope impostor? And was Pope Benedict actually murdered by Pope Francis and his personal secretary, Archbishop Ganswein? Let's consider each of these claims one at a time. First, was Pope Benedict XVI forced to resign? Il Fatto Quotidiano, an Italian journal, claimed in September of 2018 that it witnessed a papal document confirming the existence of a gay lobby in the Vatican. In 2013, La Repubblica, an Italian daily newspaper, claimed that Pope Benedict ordered an investigation into the VatiLeaks scandal in 2012, and as a result of the investigation, a 2-volume, 300-page dossier was allegedly presented to Pope Benedict on December 17, 2012, detailing this gay lobby in the Vatican. It is said that this document is locked away under papal secret, and it is also said that on the very day he received this document, he chose to resign. But beyond this, we don't have much more details. Yet it can be noted that in June of 2013, Pope Francis is said to have given a private audience to a group of Latin American Catholic clergy, and in this audience he allegedly confirmed the existence of a gay lobby in the Vatican. This claim that there's a gay lobby in the Vatican has led to endless speculation, including the claim that Pope Benedict XVI did not freely abdicate the papal throne, but was forced out of office by such a cabal. It is also speculated that on January 1st, 2013, the ATM machines in the Vatican shut down, and it is claimed this was done to further pressure Pope Benedict to resign.
This is what moves the Pope to resignation, and just to make sure there's enough pressure on him to actually do it and to do it quick, something funny goes on with the Vatican banks beginning on January 1st, 2013. And it seems that the powerful cardinals, the powerful hierarchs within Vatican City wanted it to happen fast because they don't want the contents of that 300-page dossier released to the public.
Lastly, it is claimed that a group of cardinals known as the Sankt Gallen Mafia, led by Cardinal Carlo Maria Martini, also pressured Pope Benedict to resign. If all these claims are true, namely that he was pressured to resign, they could certainly have massive implications on the validity of Pope Benedict's resignation. Now, if these claims are true, then it is possible that Benedict secretly remained Pope, and Pope Francis is consequently an anti-Pope impostor who doesn't hold the office of the papacy. Canon 332, paragraph 2 of the Code of Canon Law says, if it happens that the Roman pontiff resigns his office, it is required for validity that the resignation is made freely and properly manifested, but not that it is accepted by anyone. Thus, if Pope Benedict was pressured to resign by a gay lobby, or by a group of cardinals known as the Sankt Gallen Mafia, or by the shutting down of the ATM machines in Rome, then according to canon law itself, his resignation was invalid, and he remained the Pope until his death. This would also mean Pope Francis was, and still is, an anti-pope who doesn't really occupy the See of St. Peter. Furthermore, some claim Pope Benedict either intentionally or unintentionally botched his resignation speech by renouncing the ministry of the papacy, but not the office of the papacy. By allegedly making such a distinction, Benedict made his renunciation invalid. This is claimed because Canon 188 of the Code of Canon Law says a resignation made out of grave fear that is inflicted unjustly or out of malice, substantial error, or simony is invalid by the law itself. It is then claimed that Benedict renounced the ministry but not the office, and that making such a distinction is a substantial error on his part, and thus Benedict remained Pope until his death. Now, if Pope Benedict remained the Pope even after what appeared to be his resignation, and Pope Francis is an impostor, then it stands to reason that Pope Francis may have wanted to off Pope Benedict before he could expose his fraudulent claim to the papacy. In fact, some have claimed Pope Benedict was actually murdered by Pope Francis and his personal secretary, Archbishop Ganswein. But where did this claim come from? It is claimed that a Spanish-speaking nun in Colombia named Sister Benedicta of the Holy Cross, at the community of the Franciscan Sisters of the Holy Cross, received a visit from Pope Benedict after his death, and a long and detailed description of the apparition of Benedict's ghost. The nun claims that Benedict's ghost told her that he was forced to resign from the papacy, and that Pope Francis ordered a hit on him, which was carried out by his very own personal secretary, Archbishop Ganswein. Thus far, we have seen that some claim Pope Benedict was forced to resign, that his resignation was invalid, and that Pope Benedict was actually murdered. But let's further analyze these claims. There's no concrete evidence that a 300-page dossier about a gay lobby in the Vatican actually exists, as no copies have been reproduced. This could be because the document is allegedly locked under pontifical secret. But so far, the Vatican neither confirms nor denies the existence of this document. As noted earlier, some, like Il Fatto Quotidiano, have claimed to see a copy of the dossier. However, that doesn't prove its existence. It merely proves that a newspaper claims it exists. But journalists claim all sorts of things. Some of it turns out to be true, and at other times they turn out to be false. But assuming the existence of a 300-page dossier confirming a gay lobby in the Vatican, this does not prove the gay lobby forced Pope Benedict to resign. It very well could be that there is or was a gay lobby in the Vatican, but that doesn't mean they were able to pressure or force him to resign. In the absence of evidence of such pressure, one must remain skeptical. I'll also add that there is no evidence that the ATM machines in the Vatican were used to pressure Pope Benedict to resign. Those who claim otherwise are engaging in pure speculation. The ATM machines in the Vatican were shut down by the Italian Central Bank on January 1st, 2013 because the Holy See was not yet in compliance with European regulations against money laundering. The Vatican immediately began to look for solutions to fix the issue with the ATM machines, and on February 12, 2013, through a deal with the Swiss company Aduno Sa, the issue was resolved. Speculation that this was related to Benedict's resignation is due to the timing, since Benedict announced on February 11th of 2013 that he would soon retire, and the Vatican restored the function of the ATM machines on February 12, 2013, the very next day. Now, if it was the Italian Central Bank that pressured Benedict to resign, and Benedict announced the resignation February 11th, why was it a Swiss bank that ended up resolving the issue with the ATMs on February 12th and not the Italian Central Bank? Now, concerning the claim that the St. Gallen Mafia group pressured Benedict to resign, we have an American columnist, Giulia Meloni, that says that Father Silvano Fausti said that Carlo Martini said to Benedict in June 2012, quote, "The Curia is not going to change. You have no choice but to leave," end quote. Clearly, this is not first-hand information, and it is a claim that has been passed through a series of testimony. Even assuming the authenticity of this quote, this is not evidence that Benedict was pressured out. It would simply be evidence that Cardinal Martini believed Benedict was not going to be effective in weeding out corruption in the Vatican, and that he should resign the papacy so that someone else could do so. This could have been offered to Pope Benedict under the form of counsel, not pressure. And even if it was offered to Pope Benedict in the form of pressure, Benedict very well may not have felt pressured by it, as he may well have been willing to continue the papacy without the support of the Curia. So Reason in Theology is growing as a channel. As a result, there's been a number of increases in production costs. So if you're benefiting from RNT, I ask that you consider supporting the channel. You can help out by contributing to the Help RNT Grow fundraiser on GoFundMe. You could also consider becoming a member on Patreon at patreon.com/Reason and Theology, or become a channel member right here on YouTube. With either of these options, Patreon or a YouTube member, you'll get extra access to patron-only content. You can also donate directly to RNT at PayPal if you prefer that option. And you can find links to all of these resources and ways to support RNT in the show description. God bless. As far as the claim that Canon 332 paragraph 2 notes that papal resignations must be free, Pope Benedict personally stated that his resignation was free on multiple occasions. In the resignation speech, he notes, quote, "For this reason, and well aware of the seriousness of this act, with full freedom, I declare that I renounce the ministry of Bishop of Rome, successor of St. Peter, entrusted me by the cardinals on the 19th of April 2005, in such a way that as from 28 of February 2013, the See of Rome, the See of St. Peter, will be vacant, and a conclave to elect the new Supreme Pontiff will have to be convoked by those whose competence it is." Also in February 2014, Pope Benedict again said, quote, "The only condition for the validity of my resignation is the complete freedom of my decision. Speculation regarding its validity is simply absurd." End quote. For those who would say that Pope Benedict was forced out of office and was also being forced to say that his resignation was free, this would simply be an attempt to cover one conspiracy theory with another. Suppose I said there's an alien plot to take over the world and the United States government has agreed to cooperate in this plot. Some might say, well, there isn't really any hard evidence for such a plot. In response, one might just simply argue that the absence of such evidence is all part of the conspiracy. Though that is possible, it is hardly reasonable to believe one conspiracy based on another conspiracy when neither conspiracies have any supporting evidence. And concerning the claim that Pope Benedict intentionally botched his resignation speech by renouncing the ministry but not the office of the papacy, Pope Benedict did not separate the ministry from the office of the papacy in any rigid way that would suggest he somehow renounced one while retaining the other. Thus, the claim that his resignation speech contains substantial error is absurd and is without any concrete evidence. Moreover, it is contrary to the evidence, since in his resignation speech, it is clear that he was not under the impression that he was retaining the office of the papacy. He explicitly said he renounced the papacy in the following words: "I declare that I renounce the ministry of Bishop of Rome, successor of St. Peter, entrusted to me by the cardinals on 19th April 2005, in such a way that as from 28th February 2013, the See of Rome, the See of St. Peter, will be vacant, and a conclave to elect the new Supreme Pontiff will have to be convoked by those whose competence it is." End quote. Now, the See of St. Peter is not only a ministry, but also an office. And he said he renounced the ministry and the See of St. Peter. Thus, he clearly renounced both the ministry and the office of the papacy. Per Canon 332, paragraph 2, for the resignation to be valid, he simply had to freely renounce the papacy and make this manifest in some way. Both things were done in his resignation speech. And if there remained any further doubts, once again, February 2014, Pope Benedict reiterated, quote, "The only condition for the validity of my resignation is the complete freedom of my decision. Speculation regarding its validity is simply absurd." End quote. Why then did Pope Benedict resign? Well, Benedict explicitly tells us in his resignation speech, quote, "After having repeatedly examined my conscience before God, I have come to the certainty that my strengths, due to an advanced age, are no longer suited to an adequate exercise of the Petrine ministry." End quote. Perhaps he did receive a 300-page dossier about a gay lobby in the Vatican and realized he doesn't have the energy to deal with it. Or perhaps he realized he did not have the backing of the Curia, as it is claimed Martini told him, and he may have felt that he did not have enough energy to win them over. Maybe he was even frustrated with the issue with the Italian Central Bank and the Vatican ATM machines, and maybe he felt that he was too advanced in age to deal with such a situation. But simply being presented with problems doesn't mean he was forced or pressured to resign, since every pope who has ever chosen to resign certainly faced problems in their time as pope. In fact, if simply facing a problem would invalidate one's free will to resign, and given the fact that every papacy encounters problems, it would seem impossible to resign. It could also be that none of these alleged events were a factor, and that Benedict simply realized the papal ministry needed someone less advanced in age, and thought it would be best if a younger successor governed the church. It should also be noted in a letter dated October 28th of 2022, from Pope Benedict to papal biographer Peter Seewald. The central motive for the resignation of Pope Benedict was insomnia. Not a gay lobby, not the lack of cooperation of the Curia, not the St. Gallen Mafia, not issues with ATM machines, but health reasons, insomnia specifically, which is what the Pope claimed in his resignation speech, health reasons. So there is no real reason to believe he did not freely resign. For this reason, one could say with moral certitude that he did freely resign, and that Pope Francis is the legitimately elected Pope. See my videos in the description analyzing Pope Benedict's resignation for more details, and also my videos in the description about the validity of Francis's election in light of John Paul II's Apostolic Constitution, Universi Dominici Gregis. Now, was Pope Benedict actually murdered? The alleged apparition of Pope Benedict XVI to a Colombian nun was posted on a blog called My Sacred Shelter on April 21st, 2023. It claims to provide an anonymous English translation of an audio text from Radio Rosa Mystica in Colombia. The blog says the nun's name is Sister Benedicta and is from the Franciscan Sisters of the Holy Cross in Colombia. In my own research into the matter, there is no community by this name in all of Colombia, and thus, there is no direct evidence this nun or community even exists. I also discovered that Radio Rosa Mystica was started in 2013 by Henry Gomez Casas, and he claims to have the audio of the nun recounting the vision, but it does not seem that he has ever released the audio, or that the audio actually exists beyond his personal claim that it exists. In other words, there is no confirmation that a nun claimed to have a vision of Pope Benedict, and even if there were, that would not prove that the nun was sincere. It could be that she's lying. It also wouldn't prove that the vision was really from Benedict's ghost, and perhaps not another source such as a demon. See my video in the description analyzing this alleged vision for more details. I'll also add, Pope Benedict was 95 years old when he died. It seems more likely that he died from an advanced age, as the Holy See press office claimed, than the claim that Pope Francis kept Benedict alive for almost 10 years after his resignation, only to have him murdered at the age of 95. So in conclusion, what really happened to Pope Benedict XVI? It seems he thought he was not energetic enough to deal with the burden of the papacy, and he freely resigned in order to allow a younger and more energetic successor to govern the church. He lived in retirement from February 28, 2013 until December of 2022, when he peacefully passed away from an advanced age. Perhaps we can fault him for resigning and handing things over to a successor rather than remaining in office until death. But it doesn't seem we have any real evidence that he was forced to resign or that he was murdered. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to hearing your comments in the comment section. God bless. Hey, pro-lifers, I want to remind you about realestateforlife.org. If you want to support the pro-life movement at no cost to you in the process of buying a home or selling a home, office, or any kind of property anywhere in the world, check out realestateforlife.org for more information. God bless. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button